In 1977, in a modest council house in Enfield, North London, the Hodgson family experienced a series of eerie and disturbing events that would become one of the most well-documented cases of paranormal activity in modern history. The disturbances began with furniture inexplicably moving around the house. It started with small items, but soon the family observed chairs sliding across the floor and objects being thrown through the air with no apparent cause. The situation escalated when the family's 11-year-old daughter, Janet, began to exhibit bizarre behavior. She was heard speaking in a guttural, raspy voice that was distinctly not her own, claiming to be a spirit named Bill. The poltergeist activity in the Hodgson home was witnessed by multiple people, including neighbors and investigators. The phenomena were so intense that even skeptical professionals were left baffled. One night, while the family was asleep, a group of researchers reported seeing Janet levitate above her bed. Though the incident was fleeting, it left everyone in the room horrified. The most unsettling aspect of the Enfield poltergeist case was the physical manifestations of the supposed spirit's presence. The house was filled with unexplainable noises, such as loud bangs and crashes, and the walls seemed to rattle as if something unseen was trying to break free. There were also reports of the poltergeist speaking through Janet, making claims that it intended to cause harm to the family. Despite numerous investigations and media coverage, no conclusive evidence was ever found to definitively explain the phenomena. Skeptics suggested that the Hodgson family might have fabricated the events, while believers argued that the case was a genuine encounter with the supernatural. What makes the Enfield poltergeist particularly chilling is not just the events themselves, but the emotional impact they had on the family. The Hodgsons lived in constant fear, and the psychological toll of the haunting was immense. Even decades later, the case continues to intrigue and terrify those who hear it, leaving many to wonder about the true nature of the disturbances that plagued the Hodgson home. As the poltergeist activity persisted, the Hodgson family found themselves under increasing scrutiny. Paranormal investigators from the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, and various journalists visited the house, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. The attention only amplified the stress the family was under. One night, during a particularly intense period of activity, a team of investigators was present when Janet started speaking in the unnerving voice of Bill again. The room was filled with a palpable sense of dread. Suddenly, objects began to fly around, and the investigators, who were usually seasoned professionals, were visibly shaken. One of them, Maurice Gross, who had dedicated years to researching paranormal events, recorded a chilling tape of the incident. On the tape, Janet's voice changed dramatically, and the strange noises and disturbances were captured clearly. Amidst the chaos, there were reports of mysterious handprints appearing on the walls and ceilings. These prints were said to be smeared and distorted, as if they had been made by something that didn't quite belong in the realm of the living. The family also experienced cold spots throughout the house, where the temperature would drop suddenly, making their breath visible in the frigid air. The Hodgson children, especially Janet, were subjected to constant public scrutiny. They were often seen as either attention seekers or victims of their circumstances. This relentless invasion of their privacy only compounded their distress. Janet and her siblings began to withdraw from social interactions, and their previously normal lives were overshadowed by the haunting. During one particularly harrowing incident, Janet claimed to see a shadowy figure standing at the end of her bed. The figure, she described, had glowing eyes and seemed to watch her with malevolent intent. Terrified, Janet reported that the entity would sometimes whisper threatening messages to her in the middle of the night. The situation reached a climax when a well-known paranormal investigator, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were brought in. The Warrens, who had been involved in other high-profile cases, conducted their own investigations and confirmed that they believed the Hodgson family was experiencing genuine paranormal phenomena. However, even their involvement did little to ease the situation. While they documented several occurrences, their presence seemed to stir up the activity even more. In the end, after a year of torment, the disturbances gradually subsided. The Hodgson family was left to pick up the pieces of their disrupted lives. The house, once a place of dread, became just another home on the block. Over time, the intense focus on their story faded, and the family was able to live more or less normal lives again. The Enfield poltergeist case remains one of the most debated and haunting cases in the field of paranormal research. It has inspired books, documentaries, and even Hollywood films. Yet, despite all the investigations and the numerous accounts of supernatural occurrences, no definitive explanation has ever been provided. The story of the Hodgson family continues to provoke questions and unease, leaving a lasting legacy in the world of the unexplained. As the Enfield poltergeist case waned, the Hodgson family attempted to return to normalcy, but the aftermath of their ordeal left deep scars. The psychological impact of the haunting took its toll, especially on Janet, whose experiences during the poltergeist activity had left her both emotionally and physically drained. Her once bright demeanor had become shadowed by the trauma she endured. For years, Janet and her siblings struggled with the effects of their experiences. Janet, in particular, found it difficult to escape the shadow of the poltergeist. Even as she grew into adulthood, the memory of those harrowing nights lingered, and she faced skepticism and mockery from those who doubted the authenticity of her experiences. The house in Enfield, though it had returned to relative peace, became a symbol of unresolved mystery. New occupants moved in, but some reported lingering feelings of unease. The house was never again the same to those who had heard of its past. Stories of the poltergeist continued to circulate, and visitors occasionally sought out the location, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. Decades after the events, the case continued to attract attention from researchers and paranormal enthusiasts. In the early 2000s, new investigations and documentaries revisited the story, bringing it to a new generation. The most notable was the 2015 film, The Conjuring 2, which dramatized the events, though it took creative liberties with the real story. In the years following the film's release, Janet Hodgson, now Janet Hodges, decided to speak publicly about her experiences. She participated in interviews and documentaries, sharing her side of the story and emphasizing the emotional and psychological toll it had taken on her and her family. She hoped that by doing so, she could provide a clearer understanding of the events and offer closure to herself and others. One particularly poignant moment came when Janet attended a documentary screening of the case. As she watched the dramatized version of her experiences on screen, she was overwhelmed by a mixture of emotions. The film had brought her past to life in a new way, but it also made her relive the terror and confusion she had felt as a child. The audience, deeply moved by her story, expressed their sympathy and admiration for her bravery in confronting her past. Despite the resolution of the haunting, Janet and her family were forever changed. They had endured an ordeal that left them with both visible and invisible scars. Yet, their story remains a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of fear and the unknown. As time went on, the Enfield poltergeist case became a touchstone for discussions about the paranormal. It served as a reminder of how the boundaries between reality and the supernatural can be blurred, and how deeply such experiences can affect those who live through them. The Hodgson family's story continues to intrigue and unsettle, standing as one of the most compelling and mysterious cases in the annals of paranormal research. In the years following the Hodgson family's return to a semblance of normal life, the legacy of the Enfield poltergeist continued to ripple through both the world of paranormal research and popular culture. Despite their efforts to move on, the case's shadow loomed large over their lives. Janet Hodges, now an adult, faced a complex journey of healing. The trauma of her childhood experiences had left her with a sense of isolation and mistrust. While she found some solace in speaking out, the skepticism and media scrutiny often reopened old wounds. Janet became an advocate for mental health awareness, using her experiences to help others who had faced similar psychological and emotional challenges. In private, Janet worked hard to rebuild her life. She pursued a career in counseling, driven by a desire to support others navigating their own struggles. Her work became a source of personal fulfillment and a way to channel her experiences into something positive. Despite the progress she made, she often wrestled with the lingering echoes of her past, finding solace in quiet moments of reflection and the support of close friends and family. The house on Green Street in Enfield, now infamous for its dark history, saw multiple changes in ownership over the years. The subsequent occupants reported minor disturbances, but nothing of the same scale as what the Hodgson family had experienced. Some residents felt uneasy or noticed strange occurrences, but many dismissed them as coincidence or imagination. Local lore grew around the house, drawing curiosity seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. The Enfield poltergeist case became a cornerstone of paranormal folklore, with guided tours and ghost hunts occasionally taking place. The house, though still a family home, was frequently discussed and investigated by those fascinated by its history. In the early 2010s, renewed interest in the Enfield poltergeist case led to new investigations. Teams of paranormal researchers and documentary filmmakers revisited the site, using modern technology to explore the lingering questions about the phenomena. While some investigators reported capturing unexplained anomalies on camera, these findings were often met with skepticism and debate. One notable investigation involved the use of advanced EVP, electronic voice phenomena, equipment and electromagnetic field meters. Some researchers claim to have recorded faint, eerie voices and captured unexplained fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, but the evidence was inconclusive. The scientific community remained divided, with some arguing that the anomalies could be attributed to natural causes or equipment malfunctions. The Hodgson family story continued to influence both the paranormal field and popular culture. Books, documentaries, and films inspired by their experiences kept the Enfield poltergeist case in the public eye. Janet and her siblings occasionally appeared in media interviews, providing updates and reflections on their past. Despite the continued fascination with their story, the Hodgson family sought to focus on their present lives. They found strength in their bond and supported each other through the ongoing challenges of living with such a public and haunting legacy. Their experiences had shaped them in profound ways, but they remained determined to live their lives with dignity and resilience. In a poignant moment of closure, Janet and her family visited the house one last time before it was sold to new owners. Standing outside, they reflected on the turmoil and fear they had endured. They expressed their hope that the new occupants would experience peace, and that their story might serve as a reminder of the strength and unity that had carried them through their darkest times. The Enfield poltergeist case remains a haunting and compelling chapter in the annals of paranormal history. It stands as a testament to the enduring mystery of the supernatural and the resilience of those who confront it. As the years pass, the case continues to evoke fascination, fear, and curiosity, reminding us of the thin line between the known and the unknown. The story of the Hodgson family and the Enfield poltergeist lives on, a powerful narrative of fear, bravery, and the search for understanding in the face of the inexplicable. In 2015, almost 5 years after the first appearance of ghosts, a new generation of paranormal researchers and documentarians revisited the case of the poltergeist in Enfield. With advances in technology and investigative methods, they sought to uncover any remaining mysteries or verify claims that had surfaced over the years. This latest investigation was led by Dr. Emily Carter, a well-known parapsychologist, and her team of experts. They used cutting-edge technology, including 3D mapping of the house and advanced thermal imaging, to search for any residual evidence of paranormal activity. The team was determined to provide scientific insight into what had become one of the most famous cases in paranormal history. New findings and theories. The team's investigation uncovered some intriguing but inconclusive results. They detected sporadic electromagnetic anomalies and captured unexplained sounds on their recording devices. However, these findings were not definitive and could not be directly attributed to paranormal activity. The team proposed that the house's structure and electrical wiring might contribute to some of the unusual readings. One of the most compelling aspects of their investigation was the discovery of hidden compartments within the house's walls. These spaces contained old newspapers and personal items, potentially providing historical context for the house's past occupants. The researchers speculated that these findings might offer clues about the psychological and social environment of the time, possibly influencing the events of the haunting. Dr. Carter's team also interviewed the new occupants of the house, who reported occasional, minor disturbances but nothing that matched the intensity of the original case. The new tenants expressed a mix of curiosity and wariness, acknowledging the house's history while maintaining a cautious distance from the past. The Hodgson's legacy. As the investigation gained media attention, Janet Hodges, along with her siblings, was invited to participate in a special documentary. The film aimed to provide a comprehensive view of the Enfield poltergeist case, incorporating new findings and personal reflections from the family. During the documentary, Janet and her siblings shared their emotional journey with honesty and courage. They discussed how the haunting had affected their lives and how they had worked to overcome the trauma. Janet spoke about her advocacy work and the importance of mental health support, drawing from her own experiences to help others. The documentary also featured previously unreleased footage and audio recordings from the original investigations, offering a fresh perspective on the events. Janet's reflections provided a poignant counterpoint to the sensationalism often associated with the case, highlighting the human element behind the headlines. The house's new chapter. As time passed, the house in Enfield continued to be a point of interest for paranormal enthusiasts and historians. While the intense activity of the past had largely subsided, the house retained an aura of intrigue. It became a site for educational tours and a symbol of the enduring fascination with the paranormal. The new owners, aware of the house's history, embraced its past as part of its character. They maintained the property with respect and occasionally opened it for charity events, using it as a platform to raise awareness about mental health and the history of paranormal investigations. Epilogue. Reflections and reconciliation. The Enfield poltergeist case remains a powerful story of fear, mystery, and resilience. As the years have gone by, it has become a cautionary tale about the impact of extraordinary events on ordinary lives. The Hodgson family's journey reflects both the strength of the human spirit and the challenges of grappling with the inexplicable. In the quiet moments of reflection, Janet Hodges finds a sense of peace. The haunting that once dominated her life has become a part of her past, but it has also helped shape her present. Her work in mental health advocacy and her contributions to understanding the paranormal have provided her with a sense of purpose and closure. The Enfield poltergeist case endures as a testament to the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding and the stories that continue to captivate our imaginations. It reminds us that, while some questions may remain unanswered, the resilience of those who face the unknown is a story worth telling. By 2020, the Enfield poltergeist case had transcended its origins as a local haunting to become a global phenomenon. The story had inspired countless documentaries, books, and even academic studies. The case's influence extended beyond popular culture, sparking debates among scholars and paranormal researchers about the nature of unexplained phenomena. A groundbreaking study by Dr. Rachel Bennett, a leading psychologist specializing in the intersection of trauma and paranormal experiences, examined the long-term effects of the Enfield haunting on the Hodgson family. Dr. Bennett's research aimed to bridge the gap between psychological trauma and the supernatural claims made by the family. She conducted in-depth interviews and analyzed medical records to understand how such intense experiences might affect individuals. Dr. Bennett's findings suggested that the stress and trauma endured by the Hodgsons were profound, but they also highlighted the complex interplay between psychological states and reported paranormal experiences. Her work contributed to a broader understanding of how extreme stress can sometimes manifest in perceptions of supernatural activity. As interest in the Enfield poltergeist case persisted, a new generation of paranormal enthusiasts and researchers began to explore the case with fresh perspectives. One notable project was the Enfield Revisited initiative, led by a team of young researchers who combined historical research with modern investigative techniques. They focused on uncovering any historical or environmental factors that might explain the original phenomena. The initiative revealed some intriguing historical context. The team discovered records of previous tenants experiencing unexplained events, though on a much smaller scale. They also identified structural issues in the house, such as old plumbing and wiring, which might have contributed to the reported disturbances. These findings provided new insights but did not definitively explain the more dramatic aspects of the haunting. The Enfield poltergeist case became a cultural touchstone, frequently referenced in discussions about the supernatural. The case's influence was evident in various forms of media, including podcasts, novels, and television series. The popular podcast Paranormal Chronicles dedicated an entire season to the Enfield case, featuring interviews with experts, historians, and the Hodgson family members themselves. The podcast's popularity led to a resurgence in interest, prompting new documentaries and live events. One particularly notable live event was a reenactment of The Haunting, staged in a specially designed set that replicated the Hodgson house. The event aimed to provide an immersive experience while raising funds for mental health charities. Janet Hodges, now in her 60s, remained an influential figure in the realm of paranormal research and mental health advocacy. She continued to speak at conferences and participate in discussions about her experiences. Janet's insights into the psychological impact of the haunting helped shape a more compassionate approach to understanding and supporting those who experience trauma. In 2030, Janet published her memoir, Echoes of Enfield, A Life Beyond the Haunting, which detailed her personal journey and reflections on the case. The book received critical acclaim for its candid exploration of trauma and resilience. It also provided a nuanced perspective on the Enfield poltergeist, balancing the supernatural elements with the real-life struggles of the Hodgson family. The house in Enfield, while no longer a focal point of intense paranormal activity, remained a site of historical significance. It was eventually designated as a historical landmark, acknowledging its role in the broader narrative of paranormal research. The house was preserved and opened to the public as a museum dedicated to the Enfield poltergeist case and its impact on both the local community and the field of paranormal studies. Visitors to the museum could explore exhibits detailing the history of the case, view artifacts from the investigations, and learn about the psychological and cultural aspects of the haunting. The museum also hosted educational programs aimed at promoting mental health awareness and understanding the intersection of trauma and paranormal experiences. As the Enfield poltergeist case continued to capture imaginations and provoke discussions, it remained a powerful reminder of the mysteries that lie at the edge of human understanding. The story of the Hodgson family, their ordeal, and their eventual triumph over adversity stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The case's enduring legacy was a testament to the complexity of the supernatural and the profound impact of extraordinary experiences on ordinary lives. It served as both a cautionary tale and a source of inspiration, reminding us of the thin boundary between the known and the unknown and the strength required to navigate the spaces in between. In the quiet moments of reflection, the Enfield poltergeist case continued to be a beacon for those seeking to understand the deeper mysteries of human experience, leaving a lasting imprint on the world of paranormal research and beyond. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your opinion.